Sorry. All right, I'm going to call to order the January 6th, 2025 regular Board of Aldermen meeting. This is a throwback to the days of COVID. Would everybody please join with me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There he is. I see Alderman Plufka. Can you hear us, Dave?
You bet.
And we can hear you. Fantastic. All right. Roll call, please.
Okay. Alderman Plufka.
Here.
Good. Alderwoman Tice.
Here.
Alderman Weggie. Absent. Alderwoman Sims.
Here.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Here.
Alderman Gould.
Here.
Alderwoman Harder.
Here.
Alderman Erger.
Here.
7 of 8 members are present. Represents a quorum.
Great. Thank you. Well, first of all, welcome everybody to the very first Board of Aldermen meeting for 2025. I hope you all had a safe holiday period, and we're ready to jump in. First up is the agenda. Any amendments to the agenda? Any objection to approving the same by acclamation? I see none, so it will be so approved. And we'll move down to announcements, appointments, proclamations, recognitions, which I don't believe we have any. Is that
There
right,
aren't
City
any.
Administrator?
That is
Okay,
correct.
thank you. Public hearing, we have one item, and that is a public hearing on ordinance approving a site development plan and conditional use permit for personal care service for Monarch Beauty Collective, a day spa at 2001 South Hanley Road, Suite 300. So with that, I'm going to gavel open the public hearing. Anybody in the public care to speak to this matter? Now is the time to do so. Whitney, are you going to make a presentation now? Are you going to wait, or however you want to handle this?
I'd just do it as
there you go. I'm sorry.
Just do it as we normally do it in the meeting. And
Okay.
just introduce the project. As you remember, on December 2nd, the board authorized the text amendment to allow for personal care services in the light industrial district. So this was that in fostering this application. Therefore, the applicants are back seeking the conditional use permit. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval at their December meeting by a 9-0 vote.
Okay. Once again, anybody in the public care to speak? Do we have anybody online? Kelly, can you tell?
We do. We have several, but
Okay.
nobody has a hand raised at the moment, so everybody seems to be good.
Okay. So with that, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The applicants are available if there are any questions at the later date. Yeah.
Yeah, so as usual, Board of Aldermen, you can either ask the applicant questions now, or you can wait till we take this up for a first read later on in this meeting. If I don't hear anything and I don't see anybody's hands up, and I think we've confirmed we don't have anybody in the public who's cares to speak to this issue, so we are going to close the public hearing on this matter and bring it up later in this meeting for the first read. Next up is citizen comments. Anybody in the public care to address the board? Now is the time to do so. All we ask is that you state your name and your address, and you'll be given up to 3 minutes.
Nobody has their hand raised, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We move down to the mayor and alderman reports. First up is the mayor. I don't have anything really other than what we dealt with yesterday, last night, and early this morning. Not really more our employees did. Huge, obviously, thank you to all the folks, the fire department, the police department, and especially our public works department, who worked overtime. A number of them spent the night away from their house in order to plow the streets during the night and the early morning. And we appreciate that, because once again, it made it easier for us to get around the city. So I believe I don't know, is Eric, yeah, Eric is, and do we have Dan? I don't see Dan here.
He's actually here.
Okay. Well, I was just curious about the our trash schedule for this week. Are we still, we had to cancel the recycling this morning. We had to cancel trash today. My understanding is because Republic Services, where we dump the trucks, was not open, so we had no place to take it. And so my question to Dan is, are we pushing everything back a day? Do we think we're going to be resuming it tomorrow? What's the status on that?
Dan is joining.
Yep.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Dan.
Yeah. So what we normally would do is move everything a day, but we figured, well, since there's very little to no yard waste on Wednesday, we'll do Monday's route tomorrow, Tuesday, and then Tuesday's route will be Wednesday. There won't be any yard waste. We will pick up trees like we said we would. Christmas trees will be on the 8th. And then we'll
Okay.
resume normal services on Thursday and Friday, but no Saturday. I didn't want to work staff 3 Saturdays in a row because they already did that with the Christmas and New Year's holiday. I
Right.
didn't want to punish them any worse and have them do a 3rd Saturday. So they appreciate it and they agree to that. So we'll be back to the Monday route tomorrow, which would be Ward 1 recycling and then Ward 4 recycling and trash.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of the mayor's report. Alderman Plufka.
I believe that we're having a Ward 1 meeting on January 14th at 6:30 at the rec center.
Okay. Alderwoman Tice.
That was my report, so no report.
Okay. Alderwoman Sims. No report. We couldn't hear you if you said.
No,
There you
sorry,
go.
no report.
All right. Alderman Lockmuller.
Yeah, this is a month for our ward meeting. Ward 3 will meet this month, January the 28th. It's a Tuesday evening at 6:30 at the rec center. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Gould.
Yeah, I just want to thank, like the mayor did, thank staff for being on the ball with everything, especially after losing a truck this morning. It seemed like everybody was able to still get around and get streets cleared. As far as the sanitation, will there be a communication post on our Facebook page letting residents know not to just push everything a day? I just want to make sure that we're out there communicating that.
Yes, there will be.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Alderwoman Harder
No report.
and Alderman Erger.
No report.
Okay, great. Thank you. Brings us down to the city administrator report. We have one item, and that is a report by Craig Schluter. Hello, Craig. Happy New
Hi.
Year.
Good evening. Happy New Year. Craig Schluter with Navigate Building Solutions. So as part of the Brentwood Bound update, I'll pick up 3 different warrant lists, November 18th, December 16th, and January 6th being tonight. First is construction costs, $1,644,932.78 was spent over those 3 warrant lists. Next is soft costs, $149,023.84 was spent on material testing, project management, design, and legal fees. Going down to categories of funding, the city's received a lot of reimbursement from their various grants and partnerships, which is good news. So the city received the final check from Great Ridge Greenway. So that wraps up that partnership. They have paid in full. Next is East-West Gateway. The city received several payments from them. They're just holding $10,000 for final closeout items. So that one's really close to being wrapped up. And then the MoDOT cost share, the city received a couple payments from that. So that's essentially closed out. And then lastly, at the last meeting, there was a discussion about a general fund transfer that is noted here. So that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Craig? All right. Well, then we will. Thanks, Craig. And we
Thank
will
you.
move on to the consent agenda. We have just 3 items. Do we have any questions about any of these items or any requests to remove any of these items from the warrant list or from the consent agenda? If not, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderman Gould,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder,
Yes.
Alderman Erger.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. We wrapped everything up at the end of 2024, so we have no carryover old business. So we're going to start new, and we have 2 items under new business. And the first is bill number 6538. Mr. City Attorney, can we get a first read by title only, please?
Bill number 6538, first reading. An ordinance approving a site development plan and conditional use permit for a personal care service for Monarch Beauty Collective, a day spa at 2001 South Hanley Road, Suite 300.
Thank you. Whitney, back to you.
Yes, this is the conditional use permit for which they had sought the text amendment at the 2001 South Hanley that is zoned light industrial. There are no changes to the exterior of the building or the site, and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval at their December 11th meeting by a 9-0 vote.
Okay.
You have any
Have any questions?
And it looks like they're wanting to do a first and second reading tonight. Is that true?
Correct. Yes.
And what's the reason for that?
The applicant's ready to get started, and they were relocating from a location within the city, and so I've had to find temporary until the text amendment and the conditional use permit went through. So they're just ready to get started on build out.
Okay.
Does the text amendment affect anybody else along the corridor in the district in any way for the future?
It does include, it included personal care services as a conditional use in the light industrial district. So any other personal care service, beauty salon, hair salon would be able to seek a conditional use permit, and we would get into the review of site conditions at that time.
Okay.
And the applicants are
But
in attendance.
I would remind you that the bill is not about the text amendment. That
Right.
was
This
already
is-
passed in December.
Oh, understood.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is now the conditional use permit. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I'll make a motion for a second read.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? If not, please indicate whether you're in favor of the by your vote of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion for a second read carries. Mr. City Attorney, can we get a second read of bill number 6538 by title only, please?
Bill number 6538, second reading and consideration for adoption. An ordinance approving a site development plan and conditional use permit for a personal care service for Monarch Beauty Collective, a day spa at 2001 South Hanley Road, Suite 300.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to perfect bill number 6538 into ordinance form.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice,
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderman Gould,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder,
Yes.
Alderman Erger.
Yes.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, bill number 6538 will become ordinance number 5166.
Thank you. Next item up under new business is bill number 6539. Can we get a first read by title only, please?
Bill number 6539, first reading, an ordinance of the city of Brentwood, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute the attached user agreement for subscriber radios with St. Louis County Emergency Communications Commission and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, Chief Cottrell, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Good evening. So this agreement is a 10-year agreement, which the current one is expiring. This is for use of the Motorola radio system that St. Louis County had built for use for public safety agencies throughout St. Louis County. So this agreement does apply to the Brentwood Fire Department and Police Department to use their network. There is no direct cost associated with this agreement. However, the indirect cost is to purchase the radios, which, as we know, are quite expensive, but that is an indirect cost for being on this system.
All right. Any questions for Chief on that? I don't see any request for a second read on this tonight. Are you wanting a second read, Chief, on this?
No, we can do the second read at the next meeting.
Okay. Well, then if we don't have any questions, we will move on. Thank you. And we'll take that up at the next meeting, which I believe is not going to be on the 21st, because that's a holiday. It's going to be the,
It is
or
the
not the
21st.
20th, but the
It's the
21st.
21st.
Yes. So just for everybody, that meeting, the next meeting will be on Tuesday, the 21st, not 2 weeks from tonight. Brings us down to citizen comments. Again, if anybody in the public would like to address the board, now is the time to do so.
Nobody has any hands raised at this point.
All right. Well, then we do have a request to go into closed meeting pursuant to RSMO 610.021 subsections 1 and 3. Can I get a motion 1 and 2, 2 and 3? I just thought it was 1 and 3. I'm seeing our city administrator. Let's play 1, 2, and 3. Can we get a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes,
the agenda has 1, 2, 3, and 12.
Right.
But there are only items for 1 and 3.
I'm sorry, thank you.
So he
Thank
was
you,
right.
though. Hey, every now and then.
Motion of the, whatever everybody said there.
Okay, the motion's going
And to
closed
adjourn
session
from-
pursuant to,
Then do
yeah,
it.
send to
Just-
adjourn
just-
therefrom.
But for the record, it is a motion to hold a closed session for matters pursuant to section 610.0211 and sub 3, and to adjourn the board meeting from there.
Thank
Second.
you.
That's a motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Who seconded the
Okay.
motion? I'm sorry.
I thought was that Alderman Plufka?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, roll call. Let's see. Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice,
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderman Gould,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harder,
Yes.
Alderman Harder.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Check your emails. There's a separate Zoom link for the closed meeting. If you didn't get that, reach out to Kelly. Otherwise, seeing there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Okay,
Thank you all.
Kelly, will you
Thank
please
you.
send that link to me?
I will.
Thank you.